Good morning, America. For our viewers in the West, a grim search in Texas, the big change coming to the airport, and it's prime time on the court and in your shopping cart. Flash flood catastrophe. More than 100 lives lost in Texas. As new video shows July 4th floodwaters overpowering everything in its path. Homes lifted off their foundation. One man trapped inside his red truck as the waters rushed around him. How he escaped to safety. And we learn more about the victims, including some of the young campers taken too soon. This morning, growing questions about the warnings and the critical timeline. Could more have been done to save lives in an area known as Flash Flood Alley? Matt Gutman and Linsey Davis live on the scene in the devastating aftermath, plus the community's pitching in and how you can help the people of Texas.
Dangerous heat and heavy storms, heat advisories up and down the East Coast for more than 60 million Americans, where it will feel like triple digits, plus the new storm striking and a flood watch in place for 46 million along the I-95 corridor.
Tariff whiplash. President Trump now threatening new steep tariffs on our trading partners, warning more than a dozen world leaders they have less than a month to strike a deal.
Gunfire erupts at a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol office. Authorities say the gunman drove from Michigan to Texas. 3 people injured, including 2 officers. The investigation this morning.
Mountains of trash piling up in this major American city, lining the streets. What's at stake for the sanitation workers who walked off the job and the city?
Sean Diddy Combs back in court this morning. What his lawyers are pushing the judge to do. We're live at the courthouse.
Shoo-in, the big change for passengers coming to the airport and the new TSA policy that could overhaul how you get through checkpoints. Shark bite survivor.
Just like a lightning strike, the shark came out of nowhere. I just felt it chomp down on my arm, felt like a bear trap.
The surfer injured, plus a string of sightings shuts down a popular New York beach.
Plus, the Americans left standing at Wimbledon. Ben Shelton with a big win, with his good luck charm cheering him on. And it's prime time. We have some of the best summer deals dropping right now, setting up a double dose of Black Friday in July. And LeBron James lets us in on a saving secret.
Good morning, America.
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Tuesday. Good morning, America.
A little tease from LeBron James right there. And Gio, I have to confess, when I saw that news about the TSA, I was smiling.
That's right. It's going to be a big change with how people get screened. So we're going to have that coming up.
I guess we're going back to the future, guys. But first, we begin with the latest on the catastrophic flooding in Texas. More than 100 lives have been lost.
The search goes on for those missing, including 10 girls and a counselor from Camp Mystic. We have team coverage of this heartbreaking story. We're going to hear from Ginger in just a few moments. We begin with Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman in Kerrville, Texas. Good morning, Matt.
George, good morning. And we made it out to Camp Mystic yesterday, watching as volunteers put out the belongings, including the trunks of those campers right out on the lawn in front of those bunks. That as this disaster is on track to become even deadlier than Hurricane Harvey. And the story is the power of that river lifting up this row of houses here, shifting them 50 feet from their slabs. And still this morning, there are over 30 people missing out there. This morning, that grim milestone in flood-stricken central Texas as search and rescue efforts enter their 5th day here, the death toll now topping 100. And that number is expected to rise. This morning, new video showing how that fatal 4th of July flood swallowed everything in its path. This home in Center Point, Texas, lifted off its foundation.
Oh, there's a cat in there.
Smashing into a tree. Jens Hasse inside his red truck as the waters rushed around him. His daughter-in-law says he used a gun to shoot the window to escape to the roof, where he waited for hours for help. And in this video, a chain of people pulling the rope to save this woman from the churning river. Stuart Gross, who works for the city of Ingram, is still haunted by the cries of his neighbors.
To me, it's a graveyard. It's sacred ground. And there's people that are probably still right there and that may never come back. They're under gravel, they're under trees. You know, and it's real hard not to feel bad because I know some of these people.
The Guadalupe River shattering a near century-old record, cresting at over 37 feet. The water has receded, revealing the wreckage. In this debris field alone, there are dozens of workers. There are multiple machines. There are excavators, a skid steer over there, and the mangled remains of people's community. You can see those agents right there. They've been working painstakingly to try to clear that RV, thinking that there might be human remains there. There aren't. But what is happening here is that there are debris piles like this extending for dozens of miles along the banks of this river here.
It's a river famed for the camps on its banks like Camp Mystic. Yesterday, we made our way up there through a shattered countryside.
You can see the front of that building ripped clean off. Over here, people taking out the belongings of campers, including their trunks.
This morning, 10 campers and 1 counselor still missing. Among them, Kellyanne Lytle.
What do all the reindeer do?
Her family sharing this video of her singing at a recent Christmas pageant, and also missing Officer Bailey Martin, the Odessa Police Department saying he was on a family trip for the holiday. These firefighters, also from Odessa, saying they will stay until Martin and all of the others are recovered.
So you haven't given up hope of actually finding someone alive?
No, sir. Not one bit.
Back at Camp Mystic, we're learning more about those victims killed, including 8-year-old twins Hannah and Rebecca Lawrence. Their 14-year-old sister surviving, their grandfather saying they gave joy that can never be forgotten. And 8-year-old Anna Margaret Bellows, her mother thanking the camp's counselors for trying to protect her daughter.
Our whole group is so grateful for the counselors who loved our children and protected them until the very end.
It's grace that brought.
And overnight vigils across Texas, communities gathering to remember those they lost.
We are truly heartbroken and devastated for all the families that are involved.
Rescuers telling me they've been making progress through debris piles that are the size of high school gymnasiums. That as officials here are saying that they're shifting into recovery mode. And as Texas begins to grieve, the White House is now announcing that President Trump is scheduled to make a visit here on Friday. Rebecca.
All right, Matt, sacred ground there, as he said. Thank you. We're going to turn now to more questions about the warning system in place for the Guadalupe River and whether alerts reached people on the ground before that flooding hit. ABC News Live Prime anchor Linsey Davis is in Kerrville for us. Good morning, Linsey.
Good morning, Rebecca. This river has a history of being unforgiving, which is why back in 2016, an engineering firm noted that where we are here in Kerr County, Texas, has a greater risk for flash flooding than most regions throughout the United States. Debates ensued, legislation was proposed, but nothing changed.
This morning, there are mounting questions as to whether more lives could have been saved with a better warning system in the area known as Flash Flood Alley. In the early hours of July 4th, the first flash warning was issued at around 1 a.m. Just after 4 a.m., the flash flood emergency notice went out. But this morning, there's uncertainty about the effectiveness of those alerts. Camp Mystic nurse Devin Williams says she received an alert in the middle of the night.
It was about 1:15 in the morning. I got a flash flood warning. Went outside and looked, and it was raining pretty hard, but it wasn't anything to worry about. And then about 2, a counselor came to our cabin and woke up the nurses and said that water was coming in her cabin.
She says camp officials then patrolled throughout the night. Stuart Gross told our Matt Gutman it was the fire department, not the alerts, that woke him.
If it wasn't for the Ingram Volunteer Fire Department, we would have lost a lot more people down below.
Senator Ted Cruz spoke with me in hard-hit Kerr County.
One of the problems with a warning at 1 a.m. or 4 a.m., most people are asleep. And so there's been discussion, for example, of setting up alarms with a siren.
ABC News confirms the Kerr County Commission actually spent years considering a potential new flood warning system similar to what you would hear during tornadoes. Some commissioners suggested that sticking with river calling, an informal phone chain of sorts used by summer camps, would be better than installing new flood sirens, flashing lights, or signs. According to the minutes of a 2016 meeting, a Kerr County commissioner said the camps have had a very good system. If there's a rise, they're phoning their competitors or colleagues downriver and letting them know what happened. It's informal, but it's been a very good system. Earlier this year, state lawmakers voted against a bill that would have added a new alert system. Meanwhile, this week, other local officials say this about when to send alerts under the current system.
It's very tough to make those calls because what we also don't want to do is cry wolf.
Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is echoing the calls for more noticeable warnings.
Had we had sirens along this area, up and down, that would have blown very loudly, it's possible that would have saved some of these lives.
Many of the legislators who voted against that plan that could have improved the early warning system said that they did so at least in part because it was too expensive. We do know at least one of those state representatives says that he regrets his decision in the wake of all of this devastation. With regard to the expense, I was talking to Ginger on my way to this location, and she said that the NOAA weather radio is inexpensive, portable, and available now. Gio.
That is so critical, Lindsay. And I know that you have another special edition of Prime tonight on ABC News Live. So we will see you then, my friend.
Yes,
Thank you so much for that. Let's go ahead and bring in Ginger now, because there is so much happening in the coming days for the same hard-hit areas. Any relief here?
Yes, there is some good news. We are in a drying pattern, which is what we need to hear for Texas. That is for sure. There will be some scattered storms, especially tomorrow in that same region of hill country. But let me walk you through this, because most of today is going to be drying out. You're going to see this, and I'm going to take you across the next 24 hours or so. We started it at 11 a.m., but as we put this in motion, you're going to end up seeing the scattered storms to the south and east of hill country. So Houston, you've got it, but then on Wednesday itself, see how they kind of sneak in through the afternoon. Again, we're talking 1 to 2 inches, nothing too terrible. Wanted to update you too, 3 people died in the remnants of Chantal in North Carolina. There was rain to nearly a foot, lots and lots of high water rescues. And today it's gonna be really hot as everybody's trying to clean up from that. From Florence, South Carolina, all the way up to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, we have heat advisories. That means that the heat index is going to be incredibly high. And you know what we're gonna do with this? We're gonna break it apart with severe storms. By about 5 p.m. tonight, watch this, because damaging wind and even downbursts, as we call them, are possible from Washington, D.C. through Baltimore and up through Connecticut.
Okay, Ginger, thanks very much. We're going to get the latest now on President Trump's trade war. He's threatening to impose higher tariffs on more than a dozen countries unless they agree to trade deals with the U.S. Stock market fell in the news. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is at the White House with the story. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. President Trump renewing his tariff threat. It's sparking uncertainty for Wall Street and also for world leaders. But just hours after setting a new deadline, the president now says that's not 100% firm either. This morning, President Trump threatening steep tariffs on America's trading partners, sending letters to more than a dozen world leaders warning they have less than a month to strike a deal.
So we just send them a letter. If you want to play ball, you have to. This is what you have to pay. So as far as I'm concerned, we're done.
Japan and South Korea now both facing 25% tariffs. South Africa would be hit with 30% tariffs. And for Myanmar and Laos, even steeper, 40%. The president writing, the United States will perhaps consider an adjustment to this letter. These tariffs may be modified upward or downward, depending on our relationship with your country. Those tariffs were scheduled to go into effect tomorrow, but the president pushing it back until August 1st and signaling to reporters that date may change too.
No, I would say firm, but not 100% firm.
The Trump administration pledged to get 90 trade deals done in 90 days. Our Karen Travers asking about that promise.
What happened to 90 trade deals in 90 days?
Oh, we've spoken to everybody. We know it's all done.
So far, officials only announcing a deal with Vietnam and framework agreements with China and the UK. So the White House says the president plans to send out more letters to other countries today, but it's unclear if extending this deadline once again actually brings anyone closer to making a deal with the United States, George.
And Rachel, on another subject, the president halted arms shipments to Ukraine last week. Now he appears to be changing his mind.
Yeah, if the president does go through with this, George, it would mark a major reversal because it was just days ago that the Trump administration said that they would be pausing some weapons shipments to Ukraine. The president now says that he wants to send new weapons to Ukraine, saying that they have been hit very hard and that they need the ability to defend themselves. The president also making clear to reporters that he is very frustrated with Russian President Vladimir Putin, George.
Rachel Scott, thanks very much. Rebecca?
All right, George, thank you. We turn now to the Philadelphia city workers' strike entering its second week. The city set to resume negotiations today with the union representing about 9,000 workers. And Matt Rivers is in Philadelphia with more. Matt, I hear it's getting pretty stinky there, and we see that garbage piling up behind you. Good morning.
Good morning, Rebecca. That is what happens when some 9,000 city workers go out on strike. People leaving their trash there at a designated drop-off spot. Others just leaving it out on the street in front of their houses. This strike now 8 days and counting. The good news here is that officials from both sides are expected to meet later today to try and get a deal done. The main sticking points here, wages and benefits. The union saying the city won't budge from initial offers deemed not good enough. The city saying they're negotiating in good faith. But meanwhile, with sanitation workers off the job, those mountains of trash piling up, people even leaving furniture out on the street as the city struggles to keep up. And so again, we do expect officials from both sides to meet today. The hope of so many here is that they'll get a deal done, because dealing with that, George, all summer long, not a very appealing option.
Not at all. Okay, Matt, thanks very much. We're going to bring in our sports correspondent now. Sam Campion is here with the latest on Wimbledon. What, 3 Americans left?
George, 3 Americans left. Sam on sports. Good morning, George. We have hope for the first American Wimbledon singles champion since 2016. Now, you remember that's when Serena Williams won it all. And now our American hopes rest on the shoulders of 2 men and 1 woman. We've got 3, so there's a good chance. 13 seed Amanda Anisimova is the lone American woman left in the draw. Now, she plays her quarterfinal match this morning, just in a few hours. And on the men's side, there hasn't been an American champ since Pete Sampras in 2000. There's a name to remember. Now, 5th seed Taylor Fritz tries to advance to the semifinals again later this morning, which brings us to 10th seed Ben Shelton, who advanced to the quarters with a 4-set win just yesterday. Look at that excitement. This means we get to see more of his sister Emma, really, and his girlfriend Trinity Rodman. They went viral, guys, just cheering him on the tournament. Now, Shelton calls Emma his good luck charm, and for good reason. He was able to convince her employer to give her more time off so she could stay in London. But she's working, people. She's working her magic on Ben. He'll need all the help he can get, since Shelton will be up against top seed Jannik Sinner, who was down 2 sets to none, but advanced anyway when his opponent had to retire with an injury. There's good luck and a little bit of drama. You can see the quarterfinals action on ESPN and ESPN2. Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you, Sam. Coming up, Aaron Katersky is at the New York courthouse with the latest on Sean Diddy Combs. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, George. Sean Combs believes he deserves some special treatment, and his lawyers point to the death of his longtime partner as one reason why. We'll have the latest on that coming up from court.
Okay, Aaron, and we're going to hear from the surfer bitten by a shark this weekend at a Florida beach, saying that the attack was like a lightning strike, as shark alerts are issued up and down the East Coast.
And we have the lowdown on the big sales happening right now. Prime Day kicking off.
Sam, you'll like this story. The big change when it comes to TSA, shoes on or off through security. We'll be right back.
Get out of here. Welcome back. Well, that's a welcome back to GMA, and Superman is back too. We sent a correspondent, and guys, not just any correspondent, to the U.S. premiere last night. One who knows a bit about the superhero, our Will Reeve, whose father, Chris Reeve, starred as the Man of Steel in 4 blockbusters and was a great friend to this show. Will even has a cameo in the new movie. He'll tell us about the big night, and that's all coming up in Pop.
We are
special.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
It had to be a wild night, so we'll talk to him about it.
Looking forward to that. First new at 7:30. This morning, the FBI is searching for a motive after gunfire erupted at U.S. Customs and Border Patrol office in McAllen, Texas. Authorities say a 27-year-old drove all the way to Texas from Michigan, got out of his car, opened fire, injuring 3 people, including 2 officers. Also, Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman has been discharged from the ICU just over 3 weeks after he and his wife were shot in their home. A spokesperson says he's been moved to a rehab facility but still has a long road to recovery. The shooter is also accused of killing Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark in their home.
Also, Costco is recalling nearly a dozen products, including Danby and Medea brand U-shaped air conditioners, Anchor power banks, Bridgestone and Michelin tires, and Bowflex adjustable dumbbells. A pretty big expanse of products there. The retailer's telling consumers to stop using all the products. A full list can be found on Costco's website. And Indiana Pacers star point guard Tyrese Halliburton will miss all of next season after his surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. Halliburton was injured in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and the Pacers went on to lose the championship series to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tough one for him.
Whole season, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to turn now to Sean Diddy Combs. The case is back in court for a pre-sentencing hearing. Combs was acquitted last week of the most serious counts against him, but convicted on 2 lesser charges. Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky at the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
And good morning to you, George. His lawyers will argue today that Sean Combs deserves some special treatment. They're hoping to get him out from behind bars as quickly as possible. This morning, the case against Sean Combs returns to court following the split verdict acquitting him of the most serious charges. His attorneys will try to convince the judge to skip some procedural steps and sentence Combs as soon as possible.
We are not nearly done fighting. We are just getting started. We're going to win, and we're not going to stop until he walks out of prison a free man to his family.
The defense argues there are exceptional circumstances that warrant an expedited sentencing, pointing to the 2018 death of his longtime partner, Kim Porter. The mother of some of his children had passed away many years ago, defense attorney Mark Agnifilo said in court last week. These kids, the 2 daughters here sitting in the middle of Your Honor's second row, don't have a parent. Federal prosecutors suggested they are in no rush to get Combs sentenced, telling the judge the only things exceptional about this defendant are his wealth, his violence, and his brazenness. Combs has remained behind bars after the jury of 8 men and 4 women acquitted the hip-hop titan of the most severe charges of sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy, but convicted him of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution related to ex-girlfriends Cassie Ventura and a woman who testified under the pseudonym Jane. He's facing a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison, though he's likely to receive much less. A spokesperson told us that when Combs returned to jail following the announcement of the verdict here at court, fellow inmates broke out into applause, and he spent the last few days since, we're told, on the phone with relatives and lawyers preparing to ask the judge for a lenient sentence. George?
Aaron Katursky, thanks. Rebecca?
All right, George, thank you. We're going to turn now to that major change coming to a TSA checkpoint near you. You no longer have to take your shoes off,
Can
Gio.
you believe it?
I mean, I think a lot of parents will be singing joy on this one because you don't have to deal with the kiddos anymore.
Absolutely, and this was a big headline because this was breaking overnight here. The TSA says, well, at least sources tell ABC News, that the TSA is lifting that requirement to remove shoes, and it's already happening at some major airports across the country. We've learned an internal memo to TSA employees this week says that the goal is to roll this out nationwide. But George, we don't know exactly why this change was made just yet, but clearly they think it's safe.
We know why it started. This was back in 2006. A terrorist put a bomb in his shoe.
That's right. So you remember Richard Reed, of course. So this was on a flight from Paris to Miami. He tried to detonate explosives hidden in his shoes. Well, the crew spotted Reed. They stopped him before he could light the fuse. It's a scary situation for sure, and that's really what triggered this. But again, we just don't know what triggered this change.
Right. Well, I'm going to guess all of us are in the group that had TSA pre and could wear our shoes, or could be shoes on, as we professional travelers like to say, the entire time, right?
Well, and that's the whole thing. You're speaking from experience here, right? Because if you've had TSA pre-check, you did not have to take your shoes off. That's been going on for years, but you still need that real ID. So the real ID or the passport, that's something that you're going to need to go through no matter what. And if you are selected for special screening, or maybe you have a medical device, you still also have to take your shoes off there because they need that extra screening.
Okay.
I wonder if it means the lines will move faster next
Well,
week.
hopefully, hopefully, right?
Hopefully.
All right. Thank you, guys. All right, we are going to turn now to the surfer bitten by a shark at Florida's New Smyrna Beach. He's telling his story this morning, and Victor Oquendo joins us from Florida now on the beach there. Good morning, Victor.
Hey, Gio, good morning. Matt Bender is an avid surfer. He knows the area well, along with the risks. He told us that after the shark bit him, he used his surfboard's leash as a tourniquet, and the race was on to save his arm.
And just like a lightning strike, the shark came out of nowhere. I just felt it chomp down on my arm, felt like a bear trap.
From his hospital bed, 40-year-old Matt Bender sharing the chilling details after being bitten by a shark while surfing Sunday.
Unfortunately, which shredded my arm and immediately let go and was gone in a flash.
Bender, an avid surfer, was in the waters off New Smyrna Beach in Florida when what he believes was a bull shark bit him. He says he got on his belly and made his way back to shore on his surfboard, desperately flagging down a young girl and her dad for help.
I was yelling help, They saw the blood, they reacted well. I wasn't freaking out, and I think that was a huge blessing.
This video shows Bender receiving care before being rushed to the hospital. New Smyrna Beach in Volusia County is known as the shark bite capital of the world, with 8 bites in the area alone last year. Bender says he's seen multiple sharks there while surfing, but he still goes because it has the best waves in the state.
I've seen great whites out there, believe it or not. I saw one eat a stingray in front of me. You don't really think about them in Florida, but we have every species out there apparently. I've seen great hammerhead that are 15 feet long.
This just the latest shark encounter this summer. A string of shark sightings causing alarm in New York City over the holiday weekend, forcing multiple closures in Rockaway Beach.
As for Bender, he underwent a lengthy surgery. Good news is that he can move his hand and he has a good prognosis. He told us that for a brief second he thought about quitting surfing. Then he says he came to his senses and he will definitely be back out there.
He's getting back on that surfboard, Victor.
Right.
Thank you for joining us on that. Now, with some of the biggest savings as the summer, as retailers face off to compete with Amazon's Prime Days for what some are predicting to be a record in online sales equivalent to 2 Black Fridays. Sam, you did the deep dive. You're here to tell us how to make the most of it.
Research, Rebecca. It's important. All right, it's a battle of the bargains. And finally, I feel like we're going to win, America, as retailers maximize this moment in anticipation of a big bump in online sales. Now, this week, take a look at some of the savings to watch out for.
Get your phones out. The 4-day Amazon Prime Bonanza has begun. For the first time, the wildly popular online sale is 96 hours long, with some deals up to 70% off, triggering a massive online shopping boom. According to Adobe, U.S. retailers are expected to drive a record $23.8 billion in online spending through July 11th, up more than 28% from last year, and that's the equivalent of 2 Black Fridays. And now, Amazon's biggest competitors, Target and Walmart, are upping the ante, launching their own sales, both online and in-store. Walmart's deals starting this morning and lasting through Sunday. That's 6 days of savings on items like this 50-inch Vizio Smart TV, originally $298, now $218. And this Dyson cordless vacuum cleaner knocked down $170, bringing it to you at $230. Sales are in session at Target's Circle Week, which is all about back to school. Like 40% off Casaluna and Threshold bedding, 30% off tees, tanks, and dresses for all, and 30% off selected backpacks and school supplies through Saturday. Amazon adding a new twist to Prime Day this year called Today's Big Deals. Now, each day at midnight Pacific time, they're releasing a list of select items with deep discounts while supplies last. And this morning, shoppers are waking up and smelling the savings on this Philips espresso machine, 50% off, or the wildly popular Stanley tumbler, now 45% off.
You saw them everywhere. Now you can get it 45% off. Additional items from today's big deals that we spotted include Levi's shorts at 58% off. I'm not talking about the ones that I cut off myself back in the 70s. These are brand new shorts. And a Galaxy smartphone that is 45% off. Now these are available only on Amazon while supplies last. And coming up, Lori Bergamato has more of the deals that you don't want to miss because they're all dropping this morning, guys.
Dachshund time and play of the day?
It is, George, but there's also, as we just found out, a quote from Shakespeare. I'm about to quote Shakespeare, George. All right, here we go. From the 1600s in Hamlet, I believe, they say every dog has its day.
Act 5, Scene 1.
Thank you, Gio.
Good job.
This one's certainly having his. Check out Monty the dachshund. He's the one bouncing in the dog stroller right there, as you can see it. Now, he just lost the use of his legs when he was 6, but he's not letting anything slow him down. He loves riding alongside his brother, Charlie. Charlie's the one on the ground, on their daily walks. Now, look at him go. With the wind in his ears, ladies and gentlemen, nothing can stop him. Monty's mom posting this video on TikTok, writing the caption, "Despite being paralyzed, Monty is confident every time he's going to beat Charlie to the finish line." So it's all in your mindset. Sometimes we just need that little reminder. So that video, by the way, has racked up about 1 million views. 10 of those were from me this morning.
You can just imagine him saying, keep on going, let's go.
I love it. It just made me happy.
Running. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, that's adorable. I like that.
And you got Hamlet for nothing this morning. I mean, right there. Oh, see, that was delayed cue.
There it
Thank you
is.
upstairs. I wanted a Blue Princess phone, but we couldn't find one. Coming up, GMA, our phone is ringing off the hook with this next story. The only person who has this number is Becky Worley. Becky?
Hey, Sam, yeah, it's a simpler childhood calling, and me. Some parents are hanging up on cell phones, or do you hang up? I can't even remember how to hang up one of these old phones, and encouraging their kids to use landlines instead of smartphones. It's all about keeping kids connected without all that excess screen time. I've got more on that in our next hour. And Sam, this is long distance, dude,
Right.
so let's cut it short, okay? You owe me 25 cents or
Oh,
something.
my goodness. All right, good. I'm paying for the call. All right, we'll be right back.
No acting for you.
Standing by.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Flash flood catastrophe. More than 100 lives lost in Texas. As new video shows July 4th floodwaters overpowering everything in its path. Homes lifted off their foundation. One man trapped inside his red truck as the waters rushed around him. How he escaped to safety. And we learn more about the victims, including some of the young campers taken too soon. This morning, the community's pitching in and how you can help the people of Texas.
Hang up or hang on? Why some parents are saying goodbye to cell phones for their kids. And guess what's making a comeback? Landlines. Becky Worley will tell us what the kids are saying.
Deal drops. The top sales hitting right now. So good that even LeBron is shopping.
Good morning, America. LeBron James here.
But for what? We're going to tell you, plus the bargains you can score from a GMA favorite to tech to toys and more.
The one and only Cyndi Lauper is here, talking about her farewell tour and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And she's saying,
Good morning, America. Have you had your coffee yet?
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Tuesday. Good morning, America.
We have all had our coffee. We cannot wait to talk to Cyndi Lauper. She's always such a great guest.
Yes, George just wants to have fun, and he will coming up. And Lori Bergamato is here with what you'll want to put in your cart. She's warming up that Deal Drops conveyor belt to bring us nonstop sales from the biggest retailers. That's coming up.
All right. Also ahead here, we are on the scene in Windsor because that's where the royal family is going big to welcome France's first couple. So we'll go live there.
First look at the top stories breaking at 8. We start with the catastrophic flooding in Texas. I want to go to Matt Gutman in Kerrville with the latest. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, George. There are still over 30 people missing somewhere in the debris piles lining that river. And the story continues to be the power of the Guadalupe River, which in this case lifted up this row of houses here, shifting at about 50 feet on its foundation. That as this disaster is now on track to be deadlier than Hurricane Harvey.
This morning, that grim milestone in flood-stricken central Texas as search and rescue efforts enter their 5th day here, the death toll now topping 100. And that number is expected to rise. This morning, new video showing how that fatal 4th of July flood swallowed everything in its path. This home in Center Point, Texas, lifted off its foundation.
There's a cat in there.
Smashing into a tree. And in this video, a chain of people pulling a rope to save this woman from the churning river. Stuart Gross, who works for the city of Ingram, is still haunted by the cries of his neighbors.
To me, it's a graveyard. It's sacred ground. And there's people that are probably still right there and that may never come back. They're under gravel, they're under trees. You know, and it's real hard not to feel bad because I know some of these people.
The Guadalupe River shattering a near century-old record, cresting at over 37 feet. The water has receded, revealing the wreckage.
In this debris field alone, there are dozens of workers. There are multiple machines. There are excavators. There are debris piles like this extending for dozens of miles.
It's a river famed for the camps on its banks like Camp Mystic. This morning, 10 campers and 1 counselor still missing. Among them, Kellyanne Lytle.
What do all the reindeer do?
Her family sharing this video of her singing at a recent Christmas pageant. And we're learning more about those victims killed, including 8-year-old twins Hannah and Rebecca Lawrence. Their 14-year-old sister surviving, their grandfather saying they gave joy that can never be forgotten. And with so many now wondering if a better warning system could have been used, Texas's lieutenant governor now saying that sirens might have made the difference, might have saved lives. He's saying going forward, the state will pay for them. Rebecca.
That's so tough to see. All right, Matt, thank you. We're going to turn now to that outpouring of support for the victims of this unimaginable disaster. Micah Hatfield from our Houston station, KTRK, is in Kerrville, Texas, with more. And good morning to you, Micah. And thank you for what you and your team are doing covering this story in your community.
Absolutely. Good morning, Rebecca. It's an extremely important story to the entire state of Texas. The search continues this morning for the missing and for those who lost their lives. Last night, hundreds of miles away, there were dozens of people who gathered for a vigil at St. John's School in central Houston. Many people who attended St. John's say they have connections to Camp Mystic, growing up going to the all-girls camp each summer. And there they say they made friends for life. But amid the despair, as first responders continue their search, we found hope. In Kerrville, one faith-based organization called Mercy Chefs set up a kitchen cooking up ribs, jambalaya, and more for first responders and those who have lost their homes. Organizers tell us it's a warm meal that really makes a difference for people who feel like they have nowhere to turn. A huge outpouring of support. We heard from Kerr County leaders that they have received support from all over the world. Sam?
Well, Micah, thank you again for what you're doing, because it's just going to be stunning for people for months and months. Yeah. We're seeing some heartwarming support from people who know what devastation like this is like. And take a look at this video. It's from beloved Asheville in North Carolina. Now, they're a nonprofit organization that helps others. And you saw them on GMA right here when Robin and I were there back in last March. Now, last year, they needed help so that they could help others after their area was hit by Hurricane Helene. Now, they are paying it forward, and they're taking that help on the road, sending trucks full of aid to Kerrville, Texas, just one of the many organizations, families, and even kids that are already pitching in to help. If you're interested in helping, and we know you are because you're our viewers from home, ABC News has a list of relief organizations on our website at the link right there below. We're going to put it up. You can use the QR code as well. And I would advise you that this is when scams really jump on. So go to that list. You really can get your help done there.
I'm so glad you did that, because so many people are coming together to help the folks there in Texas.
You just sit at home and you know what this feels like as a community and a family, and you want to help.
Absolutely. All right, Sam, thank you. And we're going to switch gears here and go overseas now to the pomp and circumstance underway as the royals receive French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte, the king and queen, with a big welcome at Windsor Castle. And that's where we find our Maggie Rulli this morning. Good morning, Maggie.
Hey, Gio. Yeah, this morning, Windsor has just been full of pomp and circumstance. This is the first state visit here in more than 10 years. Now, guys, not that long ago, we watched as the king and queen, French President Emmanuel Macron, his wife Brigitte, we heard huge cheers for the Prince and Princess of Wales, all traveling by carriage down the street here. It's lined with French and British flags, officially kicking off their 3-day state visit. Now, the Macrons also had the rare honor of being greeted by Will and Kate at the airport. We saw Kate looking beautiful in Dior, wearing earrings from the late Princess Diana. Now, guys, this could all be a potential preview for what we might see when President Trump's expected to have his state visit here this fall. Now, as President Macron, he has a full schedule while he's here. Later today is going to Parliament in Westminster. We also understand that tonight is the main event, the state banquet. We can expect more pomp and circumstance, all before he visits the tomb of the late Queen Elizabeth II tomorrow, someone we know he was a huge fan of. We can expect that to be very moving, guys.
Thank you, Maggie. Coming up in our GMA Morning Menu, how some parents are dealing with their kids' screen time overload by turning back the clock, getting a landline.
Also ahead, our buddy Will Reeve. He's going to tell us what it was like to be on the red carpet for the new Superman movie and seeing himself on the big screen.
Look at that special pop news background we've got. Plus, the great Cyndi Lauper is here telling us all about her farewell tour, her upcoming Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, and what's next. Now we go over to you guys, Sam and Lori B.
Hey, Rebecca, because you know pop news is a big deal, so of course we have that background. You ready?
Oh, I am ready.
Deal drop days are here with top deals from major retailers competing for our dollars. Lori B, start us off.
That's right, Sam. The price for this GMA Fave Veggie Chopper is chopped almost in half.
Okay.
From $49.99 down to $29.99. And that, my friends, is just the beginning. We have more mega sales on the way.
All right, and that and so much more is coming up right here on GMA. Did you just say chopped almost in half for the deal?
Did you get our joke?
I did. I liked it. That was very nice.
Good morning, America. LeBron James here. Now, you may have heard, but Amazon Prime Day event is officially here. Now, my product, my pick will be probably the beard cream from the Shop's men grooming line.
Welcome back to GMA. Of course, LeBron right there telling us what's on his list for Prime Day, a slam dunk recommendation at a big discount. Just scan that QR code right there on your screen to get the sale. Lori B has big shoes to fill, though, but she can do it. We know that.
Yes. Yeah.
More deal drops are coming up.
Yes, of course she can do it. We're going to turn now to our GMA cover story. Some parents are going old school to communicate with their children, using landlines instead of cell phones. It's a story we first saw in The Atlantic. Becky Worley here to tell us about it. Hey, Becky.
Hey, George. Hello. Is this a stress-free childhood calling, one without social media and constant notifications? Well, some parents are desperate for alternatives to smartphones and social media, but could a landline really be the answer?
Gordo, I am in the middle of a fashion meltdown.
This morning, that once popular device of the past, the landline, is making a comeback.
Hello?
We have an email relationship.
Hi.
Oh, she speaks.
We all discovered that these touchscreen devices, they're so easy to use and so engaging that they're basically digital pacifiers.
NYU Stern professor and author of The Anxious Generation, Jonathan Haidt, says the decline in mental health amongst youth was caused by two factors: the loss of play-based childhood and the creation of phone-based childhood.
Everyone who works with kids has noticed that they're very different now than they were about 15 years ago. Much more anxious, fragile, less independent.
A study on social media and youth mental health by the U.S. Surgeon General found nearly 1 in 3 adolescents report using screens until midnight or later.
I had always kind of felt a little scared or sad for my kids to grow up right now, just with how fast technology was moving forward.
Karen Morse needed a quick solution.
I was trying to think of a way to pivot, slow down, and rethink how we're raising them. And so it just dawned on me that we need to invest in the landline.
Her daughters Molly and Piper using the landline to call their friends and grandparents.
I didn't even know if it existed yet because no one I knew had a landline. We have a piece of paper that has everyone's, our friends and our family, so we don't forget it.
Around 20 other families joined Karen.
Because we are both occupational therapists, we are very aware of emotional regulation. And we did notice that there were times that if they got too much screen time, they were not as readily able to regulate themselves.
Aaron Masterson and Nick Vitti getting cordless landlines for their sons, Revel and Desi.
I love it. It's really fun. We can call our friends because our friends have it. I like it because it doesn't have any screen on it, so we can't stay on it for too long.
They are getting a way to communicate and practice talking with their friends and polite etiquette and all of that sort of in preparation of the cell phone.
Communication skills have greatly increased. Independence has greatly increased. Responsibility has greatly increased. Self-confidence has increased.
What I hope this story does is encourage parents to not say, well, everyone's doing it, I have to do it. You don't. You don't have to do it.
I really appreciate these parents' efforts. And I will say, though, for many people, the landline is not enough connectivity. But how about a flip phone? That's what we did with our kids. Another of our expert suggestions, no social media until age 16. And banding together with other parents on these decisions, that makes it a lot easier, guys.
It sure does. Yeah. Okay, Becky, thanks very much. Sam, you got a special pop news.
I do, and this one feels good. Because, George, it's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's our own Will Reeves, spotted on the red carpet at the Superman Los Angeles premiere last night. The stars are shining brightly in Hollywood for this high-flying superhero adventure starring David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, and Nicholas Hoult. Now, joining us live from L.A. after all the excitement last night, welcome, Will. How are you?
I am doing great. A little tired. It was a late and fun night. I'm doing all right, guys.
And it's early. So first things first, how was the premiere last night?
It was fabulous. It was. I kept calling it the blockbusteriest thing I've ever seen. They shut down Hollywood Boulevard. for this Superman premiere. There were fans on both sides of the street and throughout the red carpet screaming for everyone, dressed in costume, taking selfies, holding up signs. It was a whole lot, and it was just really fun, and everyone was incredibly welcoming and excited about this new movie, and I was just glad to be a literally tiny little part of it.
It's exciting for us to see you there. Now, this premiere was held at the TCL Chinese Theater, which George and I were trying to remember. I think it was Grauman's Chinese Theater back in the day. And that in 1978, that's exactly where your dad was for that. What was that whole setup like?
Wow. That was something I learned, I think, on the carpet. I'm not sure that I had known that going in. And that just made it even more special because, of course, I do have a connection to this character, this franchise, this movie through my dad. He defined the role for so many people for so many years. And so to be walking literally in his footsteps was something special to me. And I had a little homage to him that I didn't tell anyone about because I wanted to let you all know first. I was wearing his cufflinks that I have treasured for a very long time.
I was wondering what that reveal was going to be.
Yeah, Will liked that so much because not only was he drop dead gorgeous and handsome, but one of the nicest guys on the planet. I can see him in you when I look at you every day. No spoilers, but actually, you have a role in this film. Do you want to share?
I do. It's very close to home to what we do in the real job that I feel much more comfortable doing. I am no actor. I have immense respect for the folks who do that professionally because it is difficult and challenging. They get takes, though, which we don't get in what we do, but I was honored to get to play. Truly, it's a small part. People kept congratulating me on like, oh, you did great. Congrats on this film. I was like, guys, please save that for David and Nick and Rachel and James and everyone else who made it. Like, I show up for just a second, but it was a really nice homage to my family's connection to this franchise and to the role. And it was nice. Like, I got a couple nudges in the theater when I came on screen. Everyone's like, that's you. I was like, I know.
Will, you alluded to it. It's harder to play yourself than it looks, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a weird sort of out-of-body experience. And James Gunn, the director, was very kind. He ran down the whole cast and crew, thanking them before the screening began, and he shouted me out, and I wanted to sort of shrink away. I was like, no, this is about you guys. I just have a little cameo, but it was really nice.
We're so proud to have you there, Will, and proud for that moment.
Well done.
I know you sat down with Superman, the new Superman himself, David Cornsweat, and we're going to hear all about that a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, it was really special. We have that coming up on Thursday.
On Thursday,
and
okay.
Got to speak with David one-on-one and talk about the legacy of Superman, and I told him, this isn't weird, just go with it. And he did a good job.
Very cool. Thank you, Will.
Thanks, guys.
All right, it is time now for Deal Drop Days. Retailers including Amazon, Walmart, Target, and more are rolling out some of the biggest savings of the summer. And lifestyle contributor Lori Bergamatto, our friend, is here to break down exactly what you need to buy before the deals run out. You can shop everything by scanning the QR code on the screen. So great to see you, Lori B.
Great to see you.
Happy Deal Drop Day.
Well, and happy Deal Drop Day to you and to all who celebrate. We celebrate it here because we love to save money and get good quality stuff in the bargain.
Always. So let's bring out number one.
Number one. So Rebecca, Prime Day is actually 4 days this year, like more savings. And one of the things we want to tell people that you should be looking at are those Amazon products, like these Amazon Echo Buds, these earbuds. So they're compact, they're comfortable, they're sweat resistant. They also do more than just play music. You can activate Alexa hands-free. Sorry if everybody's Alexa just went off. But you can ask her the weather. You can change your playlist mid-run. So there's a lot of things you can do. Let me get to the deal on this. Original price, $49.99. The new price, $14.99. Discount, 70% off, you guys.
Excellent. Okay, next one.
This
Kitchen
is
must-have.
yes.
Cindy Lauper asked if we had our coffee yet.
Well, Cindy,
here you go,
here
Cindy.
we go. This is the Nespresso Virtuo Plus Coffee and Espresso Maker. Rebecca, people love that this makes perfect lattes. You can actually scan a pod barcode and it gives you the exact right favorite size, over 14,000 positive reviews. Originally $169, new price $110, 35% off.
Wonderful. Okay, we got the viral tumbler.
So actually, we're going to get to a lawnmower first, which we can't come down the conveyor belt, but this is from Walmart. They're also doing their big Walmart deals, 6 days of great deals, including big ticket items like this Heart lawnmower. Has 3 mowing modes. It is incredible, self-propelled, battery operated. Original price $548, new price $374, almost $200 savings, 31% off at Walmart.
That's exciting. Yes. I was so excited about the viral tumbler. Bring her out.
Rebecca really likes to stay hydrated, ladies and gentlemen.
I drink water.
You drink water. So this is from Stanley. Obviously, GMA audience loves and knows Stanley so well. This can keep hot items hot for 12 hours. Iced drinks, iced and cold for up to 2 days. It is incredible. Let me show you the coolest part. It has a flip straw, you guys. Incredible.
It's not spilling everywhere.
It's not spilling, and it never would spill with Stanley. The original price on this, $40. New price, $26.23. The discount, 34% off.
Good deal.
And now we have another really big ticket item from Amazon. This is the Sony 65-inch smart TV. This is an OLED. It means brighter contrast, sharper picture. You're gonna get just the highest quality from this. It's 65 inches, and one of the best things about it, a $2,000 savings here, Rebecca, because the original price, $3,499.99. The new price with a discount of 57% off, just under $1,500.
That's a big TV and a big discount.
That's the sort of thing we're looking for on Deal Drop Days,
Yes,
right?
indeed. Okay, we got toys for the kiddos.
And this is something that I know you and I know very well. Guys, when you see Lego go on sale, run.
Stock up.
Click right away. This is the Duplo. This is a great thing for 18 months and on up. So much fun for everybody, educational, screen-free, great for motor skills. The original price on this, $49.99, new price $34.99, 30% off discount.
Okay, finally.
Finally, yeah. And then we've got one more. Here we go. The air purifier from Govee Life. This can purify up a room over 1,000 square feet. Original price $99.99, new price $63.64, 36% off.
Lori,
pretty
you
incredible.
do it every time. Knock it out of the park. Lori's going to be back with more on GMA3, and we will be right back. And you can shop everything on that QR code. Bye. See you in a minute.
Welcome back to GMA, live from New York City.
Perfect. Welcome back for our friend Cyndi Lauper, Grammy Award-winning musician who's being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Getting ready for the last stretch of her farewell tour. Welcome back. Great to see you.
So good to see you.
So much going on right now. Let's talk about the tour first. What can fans expect?
Well, we have wonderful support, Jake Wesley Rogers, and we have DJ Tracy Young.
Yes.
So it's all a party. It's a party.
Where are you going?
Oh, well, I wanted to do a last leg to say goodbye to the, outer rims. We didn't really go to places like Philly. Come on, everything started in Philly, right?
Yeah.
So, and so trying to do, so it's sheds so that we could actually get the venue, because the first time, when you do in arenas, you're competing with other shows and sports.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a lot. And so now I'm kind of excited that I get to say goodbye. And it's a party. It's, it's a celebration, not just of me, but of everybody. And some people come dressed and some, dressed up, and some people don't.
Or dressed. And people loved it. Right, exactly. People love that time together, and they love to celebrate you, and your playlist, your set list is songs throughout your career. We've obviously been playing a lot of Girls Just Want to Have Fun this morning. Do you enjoy performing that, or is there a different song that's your number one?
Well, this time, because, and if you went to the Garden, it's a real artist collab.
Yes.
And I've always, my whole life, wanted to do performance art. So I met a wonderful creative director, Brian Burke, and we kind of, have like a mind meld thing, which is great because he loves what I love. And we went, you know, to museums, and I said, well, can we do something like that? And he was like, he'd come back, and it was art. And so I got to do performance art, and Girls Just Want to Have Fun was a collaboration with Yayoi Kusama, which is like, oh my God, right? And you know,
that's the big screens. The big screens at the Garden are all full of the art that you chose.
Well, and as I said, it's an artist collective, and there's art that was inspired by Sonia Delaney, and of course we couldn't get a hold of her because everybody's, you know, not around, and so very old. And,
Around, but hard to reach.
But you know, we put together this thing, and then I realized it kind of like it just came together like a story. And it's a wonderful experience. For me, it's like, you know, I used to work at Belmont, and I used to have to get up this early for I was a hot walker, And so, you know, I always hear in my head, you know, the beginning of the show is like, let's go, you know.
Place your bets.
Place your bets. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, George saying you're being inducted. It's happening this year. I feel like that deserves an applause, right? What does that honor feel like for you?
You know, I always wanted to be a background singer. And then I became a lead singer because I heard Gimme Shelter like everybody, and you fell in love with Mary Clayton, and I was like, oh, I want to be that. And I kept falling on my platforms. You know, so the one manager that wanted to manage us, he said, well, I'll manage you if the girl in the back who keeps falling, she has a good voice, make her the lead singer. So I became the lead singer. And the first song as the lead singer that I sang in the cover band, but in front of felt like 10,000 kids, someplace called the Bordy Barn in the Hamptons, with cheap beer, and, you know, was a Bad Company song. And I'm being inducted now, Bad Company is being inducted on the same night,
great.
and it's kind of
That's awesome.
It's kind of a wild circle for me.
And we all have platform shoes to thank.
Now I'm still wearing them, but I don't have to dance in them. All right, there you go. No, you know, it's gonna be a wild year because I'm inducted on the 8th. On the 9th, Working Girl is opening finally in La Jolla. The musical that I wrote, you know, and I wrote it with Rob Hyman and Sarah James Jr. And I even got Salt from Salt and Pepper to write a little rap. You know, she's great. And for me, I just wanted to make it really the music authentic because it's set in the 80s. So
looking forward to it.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on, but this tour is special because I wanted to bring people together, and they always leave happy and hopeful. So for me,
we need that.
That's important right now. We need to come together and feel happy and hopeful. So if I can do that, and plus we sell these wigs, and the wigs, I'm not kidding. We sell colored wigs, George, it's perfect for you. We have 4 different colors. One of them would look great on you. And
Cindy, if you can do that, that would be amazing.
yeah, but all the proceeds.
I'll wear it on my farewell
There you
tour.
go. All the proceeds go to the Girls Just Want to Have Fundamental Rights Fund.
Yeah.
So that's important, and we give to organizations that help women's health. Everything from domestic abuse to sanitary napkins. I know you're allowed to say that on TV now, so I said it. But, you know, it's for women's health. And it's colored wigs, and so everybody could join the party if you want to, if you don't want to, but it's there for you, and it's a good time.
It always is. Thank you for coming in. The 2025 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony will stream live on Disney Plus November 8th. We'll be able to stream on Hulu the next day.
Now, with a look at protein bars, many of us, Sam and I, turn to them as a nutritious snack or even a meal replacement. But they are really good for you, or are they really good for you? That's the question. The Washington Post analyzed hundreds of different bars, and Becky Worley is back with those findings. Hey, Becky.
Hey, Gio, you're right. Seems like everywhere you turn, you hear it's important to get enough protein, especially if you're lifting weights or trying to hold on to your muscle mass. But are protein bars the answer?
Protein. It packs a punch. And the marketing for protein bars could make you think that they are the answer. But
the biggest surprise for me, and also for a lot of the dietitians who helped us on this analysis, is just that so many protein bars that sound like healthy options are really glorified candy bars. Many of them have more sugar than actual protein.
the Washington Post analyzed hundreds of protein bars, and nutrition columnist Anahat O'Connor says that dietitians and nutrition experts he interviewed had a clear preference.
The bars that have real food ingredients. So things that are made with nuts, oats, seeds, egg whites, dairy protein, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, that kind of thing.
And dietitians caution against bars that have a lot of added sugar or artificial sweeteners or bars that are ultra-processed.
We are very hung up on calories and fats and protein, but look to the bottom of that label at the ingredients section. You want to make sure that you can pronounce the words that you see on that list.
These protein bars, should not replace a real meal if you can have one. But if you are standing in front of a vending machine and you have a choice between potato chips or a protein bar, then the protein bar can make sense.
And some of the bars that the Washington Post recommends: the RX bar with just 8 listed ingredients, the Aloha bar, 88 Acres, Go Macro, and the True bar.
Now, in my very personal unofficial taste test, my favorite was the 88 Acres bar. This is especially good if you like the oat style bars. For another one, the Aloha bar was really good. It's kind of on brand. That's the cookie dough style, kind of soft and chewy. But I have to say, what do I carry in my purse for a quick nutrition in a pinch? Bag of nuts, guys.
Yep.
Bag of nuts.
Yeah, all about the ingredients, and that's just one ingredient. Okay, what about the protein shakes?
Well, when it comes to shakes and powders, nutritionists say they can be smart ways to add protein to your diet, but here's what you got to look for. The ready-to-drink shakes, choose one with 24 to 35 grams of protein, less than 5 grams of added sugar, and around 3 grams of fiber. Remember, shakes not meant to be meal replacements. Powder's really good for adding to smoothies, a protein boost to any meal, really. Those you want 20 grams of protein in a scoop, 0 grams of added sugar, and at least 8 grams of fiber, especially in the plant-based powders. We're all about that protein, guys.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Becky. Appreciate it.
Great story now of a shelter dog who became a hero. A stray named Sienna came to the rescue during a medical emergency before anyone else noticed something was wrong. Stephanie Ramos here with the story. Hey, Stephanie.
Hey there, George. You're going to like this one, being a new dog dad and all. Sienna was at an adoption event in Virginia, hoping to find her forever home when she suddenly walked up to a man she'd never met and then refused to leave his side. What happened next stunned everyone.
Shelter volunteers knew Sienna, the lab and pit bull mix, was special.
She loves to give kisses all the time.
But no one knew how special the 4-year-old was until an adoption event in early June. Jackie Poppy volunteers at Friends of Campbell County in Rustburg, Virginia, and walked Sienna around an adoption event.
She spotted this very tall man, and she made a beeline for him.
That man was 46-year-old Josh Davis.
She got all excited and she put her paw on my chest and everything. And I was like, whoa, what's going on?
She would not budge. I mean, even when I pulled on her leash.
Josh's wife, Kristen, realizing at that moment Josh was having a series of small seizures, just noticeable in his eyes. He had forgotten his epilepsy medication that morning, and it seemed Sienna knew before anyone else.
It looks like something you'd see in the movies. She kept putting her paw up on his leg. And like, hey, are you paying attention to me? I'm trying to talk to you. We were all kind of just standing around like, did that just happen?
Sienna was a stray, likely not trained in detecting seizures, but studies have found that trained and untrained pet dogs may be able to detect seizures, though more study is needed. Josh and Kristen would have loved to take Sienna home, but they already have 3 rescues. Still, though, Sienna made her mark.
It was just kind of a wake-up call, basically. Now I'm more focused on making sure I take my medications, making sure I get enough rest.
The shelter wrote up the story on their Facebook page, which prompted a slew of adoption applications, writing, "This is the kind of magic that shelter dogs carry inside them. Sienna wasn't trained to do this. She simply felt it."
Yes, she did.
Sienna found a new home with the Sweeney family, who applied before she was the dog of the hour, whose oldest son happens to have epilepsy.
She is extremely laid back, and she's very, very affectionate. When she leans in, you feel all 60-some pounds of her.
Don't overlook the stray dog that's in your local shelter. All of them have amazing traits about them.
They definitely do. And now Sienna's got a new home with a family who understands her gift firsthand. And I want to give a special shout out to Friends of Campbell County Animal Control, which is a completely volunteer run shelter where every donation goes straight to taking care of animals like Sienna before they find their forever homes.
Wow, what a
Isn't
great
that
story.
neat?
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you, Stephanie.
Absolutely.
Coming up, GMA Book Club alum and New York Times bestselling author Christine Pride tells us about her new book and her beach read recommendations.
Well, this is going to get juicy. All right, here we go. Back with our GMA Book Club alum, our New York Times bestseller, Christine Pride. She's here to talk about her new book, All the Men I've Loved Again, and her top beach reads for this summer. Christine, hey, how are you? Nice to see you.
So excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
In pink, the book is in pink. You
Yes.
guys have this matching
bracelets.
Yes. All right. Now, this story is about first loves and second chances, which to me never worked out really well. But readers have been sharing their own stories with you about reconnecting with the first love, and they have a common theme. What is it?
Yeah, well, it's great to write a book because you can get into everybody's juicy stuff, right? And so I've talked to a lot of people about reconnecting with a lost loved one because, you know, we always wonder about the one that got away. And that's really what this novel is about. And, you know, people that I've talked to said they feel like they have a little bit of unfinished business, right? Like this person has kind of haunted them for years in terms of what could have been. And now they have a chance to see what could have been.
And it kind of gets into your juicy stuff.
It does. So I did have my own second chance romance, and that's what the premise of the book is. Fictionalized heavily, but ripped from my own life, in that I dated 2 men back to back in my 20s, and then the same 2 men again in my 40s.
Wow. Do they know that they're in the book?
They do. But again, heavily fictionalized, but they do know what inspired
that must have been an
story.
interesting conversation. Hi, just letting you know.
Well, this is what happens when you date a writer.
All right, note to self, don't ever do that. Now, you set this book, if I'm right, in 1999?
Yes.
Okay, which to me is like an amazing time. I had the best time in the 90s ever. What if you could go back to the 90s, what music, what's the vibe you're trying to figure out?
Well, I love thinking about it as last century, right? I keep joking I wrote historical fiction, but there's also nothing nostalgic like music. It really does take you back. So I even made a soundtrack for this novel with great 90s music. Yes, you can find it on Spotify. But what was playing most in my personal CD player was Destiny's Child. I listen to any Destiny's Child song from that first album, and I'm, you know, right back there.
Yeah,
here we go.
Survivor, look at that.
You back. This was my senior year of high school. Love that music. When you think about a beach read, we've been talking about beach reads all week long.
Yay.
Do you have a favorite beach read?
I do. And, you know, I have some great recommendations for this summer because I've been reading a lot of great books. And I was a book editor for 20 years, even before I became a writer. Great. So I love recommending books to other people. And so I have 3 to talk about today. One is called A Marriage at Sea. It actually comes out today, and it's about a husband and wife who are on a sailing trip. Their boat gets captured capsized by a whale, and they have to spend months, just the two of them, in a small life raft. So it's marriage and survival, and sign me up.
Oh, wow.
Right?
All right. Okay. And any other idea?
Yeah, so the second one is S.A. Cosby. He's a great thriller writer. This is his 6th book, King of Ashes, that came out, I think, a month ago.
Okay.
So it's not the lightest beach read, meaning there's some violence, there's some murder, but that's what makes it...
I love a good summer murder.
Exactly.
I'm
Right?
like, I mean, not personally, but I mean in book form.
But that's what makes it such a page turner. You really, that's what you want in the summer, right? When you're on the beach, you're just turning the pages. So highly recommend Love Day.
Yeah.
And the last one I have to recommend comes out in August, so this is a little bit of a preview.
Good.
But if you love White Lotus, which there are a lot of White Lotus fans out there, this is like White Lotus in a book. It's the Grand Paloma Resort. So it takes place in the Dominican Republic on a very high-end resort. It's 2 sisters who work there, and they get embroiled in some drama with the wealthy guests.
Oh, wealthy people behaving badly.
Exactly.
It's got everything you need
That's
right
the summer
there.
theme.
All right, All the Men I've Loved Again is available now, and we'll be right back. Christine, thank you so much for coming.
Having me.
Loved having you.
Good to see you.
And the previews, too.
Chicago on Thursday. We had a good day today. Hope you do as well.
Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.